The second form of the psychological modeling concept is the general process in which persons serve as models for others, exhibiting the behavior to be imitated by others. That's pretty straightforward, but really, think about the society around you. For supposedly being the most advanced civilization to have ever populated the earth, we are walking on parallel train tracks with George Orwell's dystopian Oceania, speeding towards our eventual total subjugation. If the concept of modeling is so essential to our early development, who are we modeling as one collective humanity unit? Who are the people that we share in our lives across the westernized world? I'll give you a hint. We see them through a square screen projected into our living rooms. Transvestigation is the science of using biological gender markers to determine the sex of another person without DNA evidence. These gender markers take shape in the form of the following characteristics in men. Growing an Adam's apple, a wide jaw from the front, and a completely square jaw from the side, square shoulders, brow bossing or the thickening of the brow ridge above the eye, a sloping back forehead, high wide cheekbones, having a tree trunk-like neck and narrow hips with a straight up and down body contour. Did you catch that? The defining characteristics of a man? An Adam's apple. A wide jaw from the front and a completely square jaw from the side. Square shoulders. Brow bossing or the thickening of the brow ridge above the eye. A sloping back forehead. High, wide cheekbones, having a tree trunk-like neck, and narrow hips with a straight up and down body contour. I will be focusing on those traits listed before, but there are more than 20 different factors that go into the science of transvestigation. This list is not exhaustive. The photos of the following people have been confirmed in person to be the gender that they present as. This is the typical female face. She has an oval face that comes to a point. Narrow cheekbones. Absence of brow bossing. Narrow jaws. A tiny neck that concaves on the sides, and close-set eyes. Here we have a photo of the typical female profile. Her face comes to a point at the chin. She has a sloping jawbone that rounds at the mandible. Proportionally small ears. A forehead contour that runs straight up from the nose bridge and rounds out mid-forehead. And an absence of brow bossing. Here we have a photo of 4 typical women, but I am focusing on the far left and the far right. They both have slanted shoulders, tiny delicate necks, oval faces that come to a point, narrow cheekbones, and hips in proportion to the shoulders themselves. Here we have the before and after of a post-pubescent transgendered female. As you can tell, she looks dramatically more feminine on the right, and there are very specific reasons for this. She has only had a single surgery from the first picture to the second picture. She has had a forehead recontouring in which they shave down the brow ridge. In the picture on the right, you can see that her eyes are no longer set back in her skull, and that her forehead looks dramatically smoother without the brow ridge. This documentary is called Elite Gender Inversion because you will soon realize that this type of transgendering is happening in every layer of elite society, from singers to athletes to actresses to princesses, and even, as you might have already heard, first ladies. One of, if not the most disgusting, vile, sick, and perverted aspects to this insanity is that this is happening vastly before a celebrity has even gone through puberty. This has been proven to be quite clear. From the side, the male jaw is completely square, the bone going straight back from the chin to the back of the mandible, where an almost 90-degree angle forms. In a true female jaw, the bone typically slopes from the chin to the back of the mandible, creating a soft, round profile, and finally rounding up at the back of the mandible. Do you notice the high, wide cheekbones? Do you notice how far back the hairline is and the lack of the widow's peak? The flatness of the chin, the square face, notice that the point of the chin does not fall in line with the jaw, indicating surgical implant. Do you notice the size of the ears in proportion to the head? Again, look at the point of that chin. The sloping back forehead. The differences in the shoulders of the sexes can seem subtle because our eyes are not used to really looking for them, but once you start to examine, it will jump at you. Men have broad, square shoulders that after a full male puberty typically fit 3 widths of the head from end to end, Women typically have sloping, slanted shoulders that can fit 2 to 2.5 widths of the head from end to end. The shape is the key because these elite transgenders have not gone through the full male puberty. Do you see the brow bossing? The general shape of the face? The disproportionately long arms? The sloping back forehead is another predominantly male trait that can be seen in prepubescence, but is personified in a fully postpubescent male. The male forehead typically slopes back from right above the brow ridge, while the female forehead is typically straight up from the nose bridge and starts gradually rounding out in the middle of the forehead. In the elite transgenders, we see the typical male facial structure where the nose bridge dips in and then creates a slight bump at the brow ridge and recedes backwards, starting at the brow ridge. Remember that the sloping back of the forehead starts right at the brow ridge in males. Do you notice the completely square jaw? The male neck is also one of the easiest signs to see when it comes to a transgendered elite. Women tend to have necks that concave in the middle and get wider at the bottom, while men have a large tree trunk-like straight neck. This is a trait where pictures speak 1,000 words. It's kind of difficult to not notice the Adam's apple on this one. Marilyn Monroe was confirmed to have a chin implant. Men typically have quite narrow hips with a straight up and down body contour and a navel that sits below the waist indentation. In real females, the shoulders tend to fall in line with the hips. Do you notice how large the heads are on some of these elite? Some of you will ask about the voices of these elite transgenders and why they are feminine sounding. Have you ever really considered the idea that what you are hearing is just a prepubescent male voice all grown up without a puberty? No? I will show you a clip of what is possible with surgery. Notice how it is a science in and of its own, but remember that if someone has been castrated in prepubescence, they will maintain the pitch of their prepubescent voice. The elite know exactly how this works.
Rainbow passage. When the sunlight strikes raindrops in the air, they act as a prism and form a rainbow. The rainbow is a division of white light into many beautiful colors. These take the shape of a long round arch, with its path high above, and its two ends apparently beyond the horizon.
Rainbow passage. When the sunlight strikes raindrops in the air, they act as a prism and form a rainbow. The rainbow is a division of white light into many beautiful colors. These take the shape of a long arch, with its path high above, and its two ends apparently beyond the horizon. There is, according to legend, a boiling pot of gold at one end. People look, but no one ever finds it. When a man looks for something beyond his reach, his friends say he's looking for the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.